When Tienan was successfully resurrected by Luo Feng, what was his reaction? As a slave purchased by Luo Feng, Tienan and Ao Gu undoubtedly stood out as the most outstanding members among the current legion of servants. Luo Feng treated them exceptionally well, not only providing them with the secret techniques of the human lineage for study, but also promising to restore their freedom once the team disbanded in the future. However, unexpectedly, during the assessment of the cosmic trainee mercenaries, Tienan ultimately fulfilled his oath to follow Luo Feng to the death. So, what was Tienan's reaction when he was successfully resurrected by Luo Feng? Amid the double siege of the Royal Warrior Group and the 100 Tiger Tower, Tienan and Ao Gu protected Luo Feng and, together, the three escaped aboard a spaceship, boldly facing a 1,000-strong army. In an instant, the dense rain of arrows turned Tienan, who stood foremost, into a sieve, while Ao Gu barely preserved his life by relying on a fragment of the red soul tongue. People are not insensible like grass or trees. Although they were just purchased slaves, Luo Feng's ears still faintly echoed with the cry of, "Master, escape quickly." In moments of danger, Tienan and Ao Gu used their lives to shield against attacks. Although Luo Feng was deeply distressed, he was powerless and could only devote himself to cultivating diligently to protect the lives of those around him. Over the course of 200,000 years, Luo Feng vigorously advanced on the path of cultivation, successfully reaching the Lord of the Universe level and reversing time and space to resurrect his mentor, Huoyanbo. However, when he watched Babetta and Huoyanbo reunite, Luo Feng couldn't help but think of the servants who had once fought alongside him. For Luo Feng, resurrecting the cosmic sovereigns was relatively easy, let alone resurrecting a few immortals. However, unfortunately, even as a lofty cosmic sovereign, he could not resurrect Tienan because Tienan was only a star-level being with a lifespan of only 100,081 years. Even if resurrected, he would perish immediately. Only the immortal deities, whose souls were fused with their bodies, could contend with such a fate and survive. It wasn't until Luo Feng broke through the God King level, officially taking the first step into the primitive universe, that Luo Feng also boarded the origin continent from then on. Eventually, through continuous self-improvement, Luo Feng successfully broke through the Lord-level lifeforms of the origin source and became the master of his original world, existing in the past, present, and future. Even if killed, he could continuously resurrect from the time and space. From the moment he became the master of the original world, Luo Feng, disregarding the highest rules of the universe, controlled the past and future of all life in his original world. All the previously extinct life forms could also be moved from the time of their death to the present. At this moment, there was only one thought in Luo Feng's mind, to resurrect all the most important people in his life, including Tienan, this loyal servant, as the master of the original world was so capricious. In Swallowed Star, good henchmen can help you with household chores, resource interception, and even guard your home, making them essential for both domestic and traveling needs. However, initially, Luo Feng and his Earth background were not deep enough, so his method of building power was very straightforward, through the purchase of slaves to expand his influence. So, how many servants did Luo Feng have in total? Which servant was the most helpful to him? The first time Luo Feng purchased slaves was when he first entered the universe and arrived at the Qiulong star. In the slave market, planetary-level slaves were worthless, stellar-level slaves were common, and advanced war gods were as numerous as ants. Luo Feng was very envious, so he sold the Arc Blade Pen for 1.8 million Black Dragon coins and bought 1,016 slaves, including 1,000 planetary-level 9th rank and 10 stellar-level 1st rank ones. There were also 3 5th and 7th rank mentalists from the Black Mongol tribe, and Luo Feng named these 6 strongest slaves Mongol 1 to Mongol 6, with Mongol 3 and Mongol 6 being female. Unfortunately, these slaves couldn't keep up with Luo Feng's growth. When Tori Wu came knocking on his door, Mongol 1 and Mongol 2 could only send Luo Feng's family into the castle, as they didn't have the strength to confront the enemy head-on. The second time Luo Feng purchased slaves was during the invasion of Tori Wu. The Nore Mountain family sent Tori Wu, who sneaked into Earth with 80 people and kidnapped Luo Feng's wife, Zhu Xian and brother Luo Hua. Luo Feng contacted the same slave trader again and bought 8 stellar-level 9th rank slaves. With the help of these slaves, Luo Feng did not hesitate to expose the Golden Horn Behemoth and wipe out the Tori Wu team. Among these 8 slaves, 2 were quite special, one was Tienan, and the other was Ao. Tienan and Ao were of great help to Luo Feng. When Luo Feng and the Hong and Lei gods teamed up to enter the world of world, they brought Tienan and Ao with them. They dug up many thunderstone, exchanged for life fruits and 2 world lord weapons. As soon as they left the exchange point, they were targeted by the 9 princesses people. A total of 1,000 stellar level 9 rankers chased after them. Luo Feng didn't dare to reveal the golden horn behemoth, so he could only summon a C9 class spaceship from the storage space. This kind of spaceship could withstand attacks from cosmic level 5th and 6th rank beings. But they still had some distance from the spaceship's door, so someone had to stay behind to cover their escape. Tienan and Ao left behind to cover their escape. Tienan was directly shot into a sieve by a C2 laser gun, while Aogu's chest cavity turned into mud all the way down, barely surviving by relying on the wood god's crystal. If it hadn't been for Tienan's life-saving rescue, Luo Feng might not have died, but his good brothers Hong and Lei Shen might have died tragically. This would undoubtedly expose the golden horn behemoth, attracting even more covetous eyes. The last slave Luo Feng purchased was Feng, a cosmic level 9 rank. The slave trader also advised him to buy an 8th rank cosmic level 1 to prevent Feng from breaking through and turning against him. According to the setting of Swallowed Star, when the biological chip technology, obtained by the human race and the mechanical race, during the battle is integrated into the slave, it will be completely controlled. If they resist, they will be shot dead. But once they break through the Lord level, they can break free from the chip control. So the highest level of slaves is the cosmic level 9th rank. But Luo Feng was confident. His teacher, Huyanbo, had 9 immortal servants, and Luo Feng learned Huyanbo's enslavement soul imprint. When he bought Feng, he planted the imprint. Feng was also Luo Feng's trusted assistant. Not only did he help Luo Feng defeat Bai Kaluo, but he was also responsible for teaching Luo Hai and Luo Ping. He was a servant whom Luo Feng trusted deeply, and his talent was outstanding. Luo Feng invested resources to elevate him to the Domain Lord level, Tier 9, and he even broke through to the Domain Master level earlier than the genius Bai Kaluo. However, at that time, Luo Feng was about to subdue the nest of the insect race, and ordinary Domain Masters couldn't assist him anymore, so Feng had to stay on Earth to protect his family. Since then, Luo Feng stopped buying and selling slaves. Instead, he controlled soul servants through secret techniques. The second soul servant he controlled was Bai Kaluo, the strongest disciple of the Nolan Mountain. Luo Feng and Feng intercepted Bai Kaluo, who was causing trouble on Earth, in space. After defeating him, they enslaved him using secret methods. Bai Kaluo's presence was mediocre, and he later joined Feng in guarding the nest of the insect race on Earth. Although Huyanbo's secret technique could control 9 people, Luo Feng never used the soul seal technique again after enslaving Feng and Bai Kaluo. Later, Luo Feng exchanged for the 10,000 Heart Soul Control secret technique from the Virtual Universe Company, which theoretically could control 10,000 servants. After mastering this technique, Luo Feng returned to Earth to subdue the Domain Lord level nest of the insect race left by Huyanbo. The queen of the insect race, Irina, was a beautiful and gentle woman. Of course, she encountered no difficulties and became Luo Feng's soul servant. The insect queen Irina was quite formidable. Even before being subdued by Luo Feng, she had already helped him greatly. The Nolan Mountain family invaded Earth several times, but never deployed their full strength, fearing a poison ball on Earth, which was the nest of the insect race. It was the deterrence of the nest that allowed Luo Feng to survive and develop. After Luo Feng subdued the queen of the insect race, he also created a 1,000,000-strong army of peak domain lords of the insect race, which helped him escape the pursuit of the immortal Chukang of the mechanical race. In the extraterritorial battlefield, Luo Feng received the title of Dao River King and enslaved the soul servant, Heavy Arrow King. He was ambushed by his companion, Heavenly Array King, but fortunately, he ended up benefiting from a calamity by making the Star Tower recognize him as its master. To avenge himself against the Heavenly Array King, Luo Feng enslaved 8 peak kings of immortality, such as the Heart Refining King, Shocking Heavy King, and Iron Flag King, ultimately gathering 10 immortal servants. At the end of the novel, in order to deal with the crisis brought to the primitive universe by the army of the world beasts, Luo Feng used the strongest enslavement method of the Jin country, 3-star domain enslavement, to enslave the world beast Morosa. Later, with the help of a traitor among the world beasts, he enslaved 8 more world beasts and finally helped Morosa become the king of the world beasts, making him the strongest servant under Luo Feng's command. Almost all of Luo Feng's servants couldn't keep up with his growth pace and soon left his side. Instead, the intelligent lifeform Boba Toba followed Luo Feng for the longest time, assisting him in devising strategies, resolving Earth's crises, and planning his growth path. Luo Feng also reciprocated, not only helping Boba Toba find a suitable mechanical body on the extraterritorial battlefield, but also purchasing the mechanical race's treasure, the mechanical heart, allowing Boba Toba to cultivate. After becoming the Lord of the Universe, Luo Feng reversed time and space to resurrect his teacher, Huyanbo, and Boba Toba also chose to follow Huyanbo again. Of course, as the protagonist grew stronger, he was destined to be lonely. If one couldn't endure such loneliness, how could they aspire to the peak and become the strongest in the universe? Don't be fooled by Hagarif's current lofty appearance. After the treasure hunt in the interstellar battlefield, he lived before Tienan like a dog. In the original work of Swallowed Star, the reason why Bloren could dominate the interstellar battlefield was because Hagarif was his grandfather. Just like the Imperial battle team in Bloren's hands and the laser gun capable of killing universal-level beings, these were all strong support from Hagarif to him. However, under the intimidation of such powerful force, although Bloren successfully pushed open the treasure's gate, he did not obtain the coveted treasure. Because inside the castle, there were not countless treasures, but only an intelligent lifeform named Lord Mist. According to him, to obtain the treasure, one must exchange it with a special item called the Thunderstone. After Lord Mist finished explaining, he specifically provided a list of 312 treasures. Ranked first was the Inheritance Crystal Ball of the Kabu Domain Lord, which was also Bloren's greatest goal on this trip. However, the crystal ball was stored in the universe's first bank, and in the future, it would require the exchange of 3 passwords to successfully retrieve it. So when this news was known to Hagarif, he immediately issued a death order to Bloren, requiring him to obtain all 3 passwords at any cost. It's worth noting that the Kabu Domain Lord had inherited the legacy of an immortal in his lifetime, so as long as Hagarif could obtain Kabu's inheritance, he had a great chance of breaking through to immortality. So, to be absolutely sure, Hagarif deliberately borrowed a large number of star-level armies from other Domain Lord powerhouses in the Black Dragon Mountain Holy Land, then sent them into the interstellar battlefield to assist Bloren in obtaining the passwords. However, those Domain Lords who helped Hagarif did not do so for free. Although they did not compete with Hagarif for the Inheritance Crystal Ball of Kabu, Bloren obtained other treasures, all of which had to be distributed to them. So when Bloren took control of a full 200,000 troops, not only did he make everyone dig Thunderstones, but he even launched killings and looting against all forces in the interstellar battlefield. And most importantly, Bloren had assassinated Luo Feng twice, killing Tienan in the first attempt and almost causing Luo Feng's death in the second attempt. Under such tough methods, although Bloren exchanged a large number of treasures and the first 2 passwords for the Inheritance Crystal Ball, when he went to exchange the last password, he found that Tiena's men had already beaten him to it. So when Hagarif learned of this, he had no choice but to swallow his pride and actively negotiate with Tienan. In the end, he had to pay his entire fortune to obtain the last password from Tiena's hands. However, when he eagerly entered the 3 passwords at the Universe Bank, what he got was only a recording left by the Kabu Domain Lord, and its content contained no martial arts inheritance, only endless ridicule and mockery. After hearing this, Hagarif was so enraged that he spat blood on the spot. For the sake of these 3 passwords, he not only staked his entire fortune, but also offended all the Domain Lords of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Under the public outrage, Hagarif's status in Black Dragon Mountain plummeted drastically.